You found a small baby bird on the ground and decided to pick it up. It looked completely helpless, and you felt a strong urge to save its life. Your instincts told you that leaving it there meant it would surely die. So you picked it up, put it back, or brought it inside for safety. You truly believed you were doing the right thing to protect it. But the moment you touched that bird, you triggered an irreversible reaction. The parent birds were watching your every move from the branches above. And depending on the species, your actions have marked you for a very long time. Welcome to Bird Whisper, where we explore the hidden lives of wild birds. What you learn today will change how you view every bird interaction. Let us walk through exactly what happens when you touch a baby bird. Let us compare what you saw with what was actually happening. You saw a tiny, fluffy, creechy creature sitting alone on the lawn. It was hopping awkwardly and making continuous, high-pitched cheeping sounds. To you, it looked abandoned, injured, and in desperate need of help. But here is what you did not see happening high above you. Two adult birds had been monitoring that baby the entire time. That baby bird was not injured, and it was not abandoned. It is actually a fledgling, which is a normal stage of development. And its presence on the ground is exactly where it should be. Fledgling is the term for a young bird that left the nest. They cannot fly well yet, but they must learn on the ground. For most songbirds, this fledgling stage lasts 1 to 2 weeks. They spend this time hopping, flapping, and strengthening their flight muscles. They learn to forage under the direct supervision of their parents. Scientific research on fledgling behavior is very clear on this topic. The vast majority of baby birds found on the ground are safe. They are simply going through a necessary developmental milestone in nature. The parents are always nearby, watching and feeding them regularly. They feed their young every 15 to 30 minutes daily. And most importantly, they are watching you very closely. When you reach down to pick up that fledgling, they saw it. To them, a massive predator was approaching their defenseless offspring. They saw you make contact and remove it from their sight. In their threat assessment system, your action was highly dangerous. What you did was identical to a predator capturing prey. Predator capturing prey. It is the same behavior they expect from a raccoon or cat. To the parents, you are now officially classified as a threat, this event, and associate you with danger. Now let us look at what happened immediately after the event. If you listened closely, you probably heard intense alarm calls. These sharp, repetitive sounds were coming from the trees around you. These vocalizations were not random. They were highly structured messages. They are species-specific warnings with very precise meanings in nature. Researchers have studied these alarm calls for many years now. They found that birds encode specific details about each threat. They communicate the type, size, and danger level of predators. A chickadee adds more syllables to its call for higher danger. And the parents of that fledgling were broadcasting news about you. But the warning did not just stay within their own species. Other bird species in the area listen to these alarms. They understand the warning and react to protect themselves too. When the parents screamed, every bird nearby received that information. They all updated their internal threat assessment about your face. You were marked as a dangerous presence in your own neighborhood. You feature. And if the bird you touched belonged to the crow family, the situation is significantly more complex and long-lasting. Crows possess an incredible ability to recognize human faces. A famous study from the University of Washington proved this. They proved that crows recognize individual humans who threaten them. They remember those specific faces for many years afterward. Researchers wore specific masks while trapping and banding the crows. Later, they walked through the area wearing the same masks. They also tested the crows with completely different, neutral masks. The crows immediately recognized and scolded the dangerous mask. They dive-bombed the wearer and followed them down the street. But they completely ignored the person wearing the neutral mask. Person wearing the neutral mask. This recognition was highly specific to the offender's face. And this hostile behavior persisted for several years. But the most shocking discovery was how the information spread. Crows that were never trapped began attacking the dangerous mask. They learned about the threat from watching other crows react. The knowledge of your face is shared through social learning. If you touch a baby crow or blue jay, they remember. They file your face away in their mental database of threats, and they will track your movements whenever you are outside. Whenever you are outside. They may mob you, scold you, and follow you around. They will pass this information down to the next generation. Your face becomes a permanent symbol of danger to them. But what if the bird you touched was not a crow? What if it was a robin, a cardinal, or a sparrow? Research shows that these songbirds have different ways of remembering. They may not recognize your face, but they recognize routines. They remember the exact location where the threat occurred. They associate your entire yard with the danger event. They remember the approximate time of day it happened, and they will change their behavior whenever you are near. They build a threat profile based on your regular presence. Birds that once fed peacefully will now flee from you. The trust you built over many months can vanish instantly. Alarm calls will start the moment you step outside. Blue jays might follow you from tree to tree, scolding. A cardinal that used to sing, will now go silent. They will retreat to dense cover when you open the door. If you love feeding birds and creating a welcoming, this behavioral shift is deeply disappointing for any bird lover. You spent months building their trust, only to reset it. The parent birds will avoid your feeder while you are there. You cannot fix this by simply putting out more food. The only thing that can heal this relationship is time. In Seattle, researchers continued to monitor the original crows. 7 years after the initial study began in 2006, the crows were still aggressively scolding the dangerous mask.
Younger crows had learned the threat from the older generation.
Does this mean you should never help a baby bird? There are rare situations where a baby genuinely needs help. A bird with no feathers and closed eyes is a nestling. Nestlings cannot survive on the ground and must be. If you find a nestling, place it back in the nest. The myth that birds reject touched babies is completely false. However, the parents will still remember you as a threat. So leave fledglings alone, and let the parents do their job.